Good night, everyone. This is November the 4th. It's so good to be here with you. No, I didn't forget about you guys. I thought about you all day long, and I said this would be a very, very odd occurrence for me not to do a live podcast today. So I wanted to get in here, even though it's late, and enjoy the evening with you. Hopefully, you're preparing to do your 10th step, going over your day, trying to figure out what you did wrong, what you did right, what you need to do different, who do you need to make prompt amends to, right? We're growing in recovery and we get to do a 10th step. It's such an honor. So hopefully I caught you in the process of that. Let's go ahead and get into the meditation for today. This is the spiritual principle of the day for November 4th. I'm excited to do that with you. Let's go ahead and see what we have. Ooh, it's talking about sex. Oh man. Okay, nonetheless, let me go ahead and read this for you. Intimacy is complicated, but worth it. Okay, y'all ready for this? Roll up your sleeves. For those of us who use sex as a way to move through the world, it may be quite some time to figure out the difference between being sexual and being intimate. Living Clean, Chapter 4, Sex. Wait, so sex and intimacy are not the same thing? This is news to many of us. What isn't news is the complex and often contradictory relationship at play when it comes to our sexual behavior, our addiction, and our capacity for intimacy. For many of us, sex has been a useful tool, a bargaining chip. We used it as a shield to deflect intimacy rather than experience it. Sex can be so intricately entwined with our use of substances that we may need to learn how to have sex without using. Will we be able to perform? Will we even enjoy it? How can we fulfill our sexual desires without taking advantage of others or putting ourselves at risk for the same? Learning how to have sex clean is one thing. Being intimate with others in a non-sexual context is another. True intimacy requires mutual honesty and willingness from all involved parties, quite literally, bearing our souls, instead of bearing our bodies. How on earth do we approach this? It's it's overwhelming. And who says we even want intimacy anyway? Is that a requirement for staying clean? We approach this jumbled human mess with patience for ourselves, no matter how long we have been clean. We approach it with some resolve to understand and communicate our desires and our truths. And if possible, we approach it with the understanding that our relationship to sex and intimacy will continue to evolve as we mature in our recovery and grow older. Intimacy is complicated, and I can't possibly figure it out today. Instead, I will let folk out, I will focus rather on getting to know myself and being considerate of others. I'll aim to practice spiritual principles in my sexual affairs too. Ooh, I got through that one. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the we version of the serenity prayer. A moment of silence now, please. Thank you, God. Grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference, even when it comes to these sexual matters. Such an awkward meditation to read. I mean, if I don't ever read November 4th again to you guys, it wouldn't bother me one bit. It's a very uncomfortable topic, isn't it? But you know what? All of us have had to deal with our uncomfortability surrounding the topic of sex versus intimacy. And the truth of the matter is that when I first came into the fellowship, I knew a lot about having sex, very little about intimacy. And intimacy was something that I learned platonically by fellowshipping with other recovering addicts, whether they be male or female. Intimacy was something that I learned. I learned to bare my soul. instead of my body. I learned to talk about the things that I was feeling. I was learning how to interpret other people's actions and understand that they were offering me recovery and not a relationship, not a sexual relationship. And there were a few times I got things twisted. I thought if he did this and he did that, that meant that he wanted this and I needed to give that, only to find out that sleeping with me was the furthest thing from that man's mind. I was shocked. First, I felt betrayed or lied to or misled. And then I realized that this was someone that was really trying to exercise spiritual principles and not 13-step me, right? So we grow in regards to this. And I hope that this meditation has been something for you to think about today, something for you to meditate on tonight, think about tomorrow, and as you move forward in whatever relationship you are in, right? That you will practice spiritual principles in all your affairs, even your sexual affairs. Really, quite honestly, recovery calls upon us to do that, to do just that. And I know you can do it. I know you can do it. But here's the thing. I want you to realize you have to stick and stay to get to the point where you feel like you've matured in this area. Pay attention to what your mind is telling you about intimacy versus sex. There's people that think they love people, but come to find out they only have lust for them. You know what? It's getting late. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you, and I will be talking to you on time tomorrow morning, bright and early. Have a beautiful night, and don't forget to work your 10th step tonight. Start, if you haven't been doing it, start tonight. Go over your day and see what you can do differently in the areas that you did wonderfully. Have a beautiful night.